recipe for great food is simple. Make it fresh. Wings to go in Greenville, where every order is a custom order made with fresh ingredients. Wings to go, 7818 Wesley Street in Greenville. Simply great wings.
Need a part for the right price? Look for that red and blue sign. Henley Auto Supply at 1510 Stonewall. Over 800,000 CarQuest parts to choose from. Domestic, European, and Asian parts. Henley Auto Supply at 903-455-1969. 455-1969. Henley Auto Supply has the right part to keep your vehicle running. And backed by the best hometown service. Henley Auto Supply. Great people, great products, great prices. Henley Auto Supply and CarQuest.
It's 6 o'clock, and I'll open this regular session of the Greenville City Council of February 22nd. And I'd like to stand for the invocation by Youth Minister, Pastor Ryan Litchfield. Thank you for being here tonight.
Let's pray. Father, we thank you for tonight and the opportunity to gather and have this meeting. Father, we ask that you be with our city council and our city employees here tonight, or employees that may work for the city. Ask that you be with them. Ask that you be with the city council tonight as they may make decisions that will affect our town. I ask that you be with the citizens of our town tonight, that you'd be with them as these decisions are made, and that these decisions would ultimately glorify you in however they can. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. Have a couple of presentations tonight, proclamations. Is Scott Smith here tonight? If you'd come up, please, Scott. Thank you, Chief. We, the Mayor and City Council of the City of Greenville, Texas, do hereby celebrate your retirement, Chief Scott Smith.
A celebration on my retirement?
Oh, I know, well, I don't know. Is that what it said? No, I guess we didn't. Maybe we didn't celebrate it. Anyway, I'm very sorry. Okay. Anyway, Scott was born in Greenville and graduated from Greenville High School, where he went on to serve the United States Air Force from 1977 to 1983. Scott received his business management degree from LeTourneau University, his AAS Criminal Justice and AAD Paralegal from Community College of the Air Force and Graduate Leadership Command College. Scott was first employed by the City of Greenville Police Department on May the 2nd of 1983 as a parole officer. Officer Smith subsequently received his intermediate police officer certification on May 23 of 1987 and was promoted to sergeant in 1988. We did celebrate you before, a couple of weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Sergeant Smith received his advanced peace officer certification in 1990, his master peace officer certification in 1994, and was promoted to lieutenant in 1995. Lieutenant Smith was promoted to assistant chief in 2004 and served as an instructor, field training officer, negotiator, and investigator with the Greenville Police Department. And Scott Smith was officially sworn in as our chief of police for the Greenville Police Department in March of 2019 and recently retired from the city of Greenville. So we wish you well in your retirement as you embark on a new adventure and spend more time enjoying your family. And we're happy that you did this. And I wondered if you'd like to speak to the audience, if you would.
Okay.
You can take this if you want to, or you can use my mic. You want to use try mine? Okay. Okay.
That way you won't have to get all
Okay.
disconnected.
There you go.
Do you mind if I look at them?
Absolutely. Take
Okay.
this. Yeah, turn it around. That's good.
All right. I see some familiar faces here. I see some department heads. see people doing business. And pardon me if I turn my back to you. It's, no, don't take it as disrespect. But for you folks and for y'all, you know, hold your government accountable, for gosh sake. And I'm not meaning in a negative way. I'm not saying anything's afoot that you should worry with. But show your interest, make your desires known. And for you guys, don't go for the flash in the pan. You're on the right track now. You know, if you go build things, you're going to spend money, make them last. It can be done. That's real world stuff. And if you'll just stick to that, and folks, if you'll just show them, you know, hey, let's show them the way. This is how you can be accountable. This is how you can spend these good dollars. This is my home, always has been. I guess it always will be. As long as those people back there on that back wall are here, I'll be here. I'd like to thank them for
You bet.
supporting me.
You want to ask them to stand?
So, most of them are.
Okay.
My sweet wife, who hadn't known me, but, oh, I don't know, not long enough. She's learning me. For my kids, who've known me all their lives, for tolerating me. Not going anywhere, so that toleration will continue, I hope. That's really it. I've enjoyed my time with the city. Not many people are blessed with the opportunity to serve in their own home.
Right.
If you've come here, you've chosen to make this your home, good choice, good choice. Lots of work to be done. If you're here sitting on this council, you know, we look to what we call our leaders. Actually, just go home tonight and consider yourself a servant. You're going to find that that's a blessing, because that's how you conduct yourself in the world, most especially in government. Never felt like I was above another soul. You just rise to whatever you think you can tolerate, I suppose. And, you know, my decision was not necessarily quick. My announcement was very quick. No reflection on our city, anything that's going on with them at all. It's all about me. And after 38 years and 9 months, I'm just asking for the grace. I want to be with these people here in the back. I've given you, I think, a fair measure of my time, my effort, and my considerations.
Certainly have.
So I'm going to do this for a while. Y'all will see me from time to time. And if you need me, you can always call me. I'm easy to find. Like I say, I'm not going anywhere. I hope I left you a police department that you can be proud of. Each and every day I am. Even not being there, they're still moving, charging right ahead. They've got obstacles, challenges, and such as that. And I hope they're always fair and open with what their needs are and what their desires are. Because it's been my decades of experience that they only want the best for this city.
Absolutely.
And that's it. They want to be able to provide a safe community, a service. Of course, we're dealing with humans, and we don't always quite get along. But for the most part, we are all have done our a little best to give you a good police department, one that you can be proud of. I have been, very much so, and I don't see any reason that shouldn't continue.
Thank you for your service to our
Thank you,
community
Mayor.
all those years, very
You
much.
bet, you
Thank
bet.
you. I need to sign this, so
Oh, okay,
I'll come
go
back
right
and,
ahead.
okay, sorry.
No problem. Check for 100,000.
We probably owe you that much for your service over the years. Thank you very, very much. We appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you again. You bet.
Thank y'all. Good luck.
Yeah.
Okay, I'd like to call up Bria Frazier, please. And you're our Boys and Girls Club nominee for Northeast Texas, and I want to read this proclamation, and then maybe you want to tell some people about your plans. I was involved about 2 weeks ago in some judging, and we selected her to represent the Northeast Texas area in the Boys and Girls Club selection in Austin statewide. So she'll be representing in our area, in that area, or in that, for us in that area, or this area. Bria is originally from Paris, Texas, but moved to Greenville as soon as she could, where she will be a graduate of Greenville High School in May 2022. She has been a member of the Greenville Boys and Girls Club of Northeast Texas for 13 years and has been a youth employer of the club for 1 year. And she was elected by the leadership of the club to serve this year as the nominee for the Boys and Girls Club of Northeast Texas in the upcoming competition in Austin to represent the Greenville Club, and will join with other nominees from across the great state of Texas. And whereas each year one exceptional club member is selected to be in the National Youth of the Year Award, serving as an ambassador for the Boys and Girls Club, as well as a voice for all of our nation's young people. And whereas over the decades, past recipients have exemplified the Boys and Girls Club mission and are proof of the positive impact that numerous clubs make in transforming and saving kids' lives. Whereas the National Youth of the Year winners have achieved success in a variety of industries, including entertainment, politics, business, and sports. So we congratulate you for your success thus far and wish you well as you represent our community in the upcoming competition. We're very proud of you. And when we did the judging, I'll mention a couple of things. One of the judges that was there that night had been a member of Boys and Girls Club since 1959. And you talk about his success in business, and if you'll remember that, he eventually became the CEO of Dr. Pepper in Dallas. So do you want to tell us a little bit about your plans? I know you told us about your plans. Well, let me get this mic for you, if I can, and you can talk about that if you'd like.
This one? Okay. As he said, I am a Youth of the Year advocate, and basically I'm competing and also encouraging youth to try to come to the Boys and Girls Club to encourage kids to get off the street and just, come to a place where they feel safe and can be themselves. And as he said, in March, I'll go to Austin to compete and say my speech and hopefully advance to regionals and then nationals and maybe be the National Youth of the Year. My plans is when I graduate to go to Prairie View A&M University to major in architecture and also become an ambassador to also work in other facilities around the Houston area to encourage more people to come to the Boys and Girls Club.
Thank you very much, and we're very proud of you to represent us, and there's your proclamation. So we hear it for her. Thank you very, very much. Okay, that's all our presentations for tonight. You'll note if you have an agenda, there are placeholders in our agenda for citizens to be heard and public testimony. Citizens to be heard on items that are not already scheduled for public hearing or are not on the agenda. Public testimony is for citizens to be heard on items that are on the agenda, which begin tonight with item 7A. So are there citizens to be heard tonight? No cards, no citizens to be heard. Okay, in that case, we'll move right along to public hearings. There will not be a vote on this. Daniel, will you introduce these public hearings to us, please?
Yes, this is the exact same thing. It was on the last two agendas. This relates to the large mud that was established about 12 years ago northwest of town, what most people refer to as a Walton development. We're not changing any of the terms of that 170-page agreement. The only thing that's changing here, there's two things. Number one is that a portion of the existing mud, parts 1 and 1A, will be removed from the mud to allow for the construction of a solar farm. Number two, at the end of a 25-year period from the date of construction, or the date of completion of construction, then the city will be able to automatically annex that solar farm or whatever it is turned into, whether that's houses or something else. The purpose of these public hearings is to proactively and preemptively do all the things necessary under current state law to allow the future city council 25 or 26 years from now to annex that property without going through additional public hearings, if that's even required at the time. Annexation law has changed so much over the past 10 years that it's impossible to know what it will be like 25 years from now, but we have a contractual ability now, once this hearing is done and once the hearing 2 weeks from now is done, so that 25 years from now, the future city council can make a decision on what's best for the city at that time.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the council regarding this issue? Not, I'll open the public hearing. Or would anyone like to speak in favor or opposed to these items? If there nobody present to speak to those, I'll close the public hearing. Move to ordinance 7A, consideration action on an ordinance authorizing the purchase and installation of a 2,000 kilowatt generator for the water treatment plant. Press.
Yes, sir. This is just one component that we at the water treatment plant. We have an old generator. It's got over 88,000 hours on it. It was an oil field generator. It cannot power up but maybe half of the water treatment plant. And this is part of the process that the city went through, but we needed generators that we found out in the last winter storm, facilities that needed it. And this was one of the weak links of not having to be able to get the water plant online because of intermediate power. So this is absolutely needed for the water plant, and the 2,000 size generator will run the entire plant.
Okay. Are there any questions of press regarding this issue? Not, I'll open item 7A for public testimony. Is there anyone here who would like to speak either in favor of or opposed to this issue, this item on the agenda? There being no one, I'll close public testimony. What is the pleasure of the council regarding item 7A? Move approval, Mr. Atkins. Second, Mr. Freeman. Very good. Please vote. And it passes unanimously. Item 7B, consideration and action on an ordinance authorizing a professional services, engineering service agreement with Haskell Company for design services on a 16-inch PVC sanitary pipe, sewer system pipe.
Yes, sir. Haskell Company is the company doing the design build for the Hood Dairy facility. And part of their job is they had to design a pump station and a force main to tie into our gravity system. Part of that was us extending our gravity line from Ridgecrest to 1570. There's actually a typo in this. Actually, it's an 18-inch gravity line.
Okay.
And we felt it was advantageous for the city to go ahead and utilize Haskell Company since they are designing their own station. They're designing the force main. Go ahead and let them design our gravity sewer part as part of the whole project that we have to do, that we've already entered a contract agreement to provide this service to Hood Dairy Product. We felt it was advantageous to go ahead and hire Haskell Company to do this design for us, and that's what's in front of you tonight.
Okay, are there any questions from press regarding this issue? If there are no questions, I'll open the public testimony. Is there anyone who would like to speak either for or against this item, 7B? There being no one, I'll close public testimony. What is the pleasure of the council?
I make a motion to approve.
Second. Okay. Motion is second. Please vote. And it passes unanimously. Item 7C.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, Press, for all your work on that. It's nice if it would be that easy to just brief us, right? Okay, so item 7C, consideration action on ordinance providing for consulting services for LaTora Anderson as a city planner for the city of Greenville. Summer.
Yes, Mayor. Ms. Anderson has informed us that she's going to be seeking other full-time employment, but she would like to finish some of the projects, and we would like her to finish as well. We recommend some of the projects that she's got going for us in regards to the impact fees. We've got the downtown plan. Steve's got her wanting to redo all the ordinance, some of the projects that we had planned in the future, as well as the comp plan as well to finish out that process, since she's been heavily involved in that process. So in order to keep her on, we would recommend that we keep her on as a consultant. We would pay her at $50 an hour, not to exceed a yearly amount of $52,000. We have the funds available in that, and so that's what we would recommend to be able to do that. We feel like there's enough work for her to be able to keep her busy, actually for at least 2 to 3 years on a part-time basis, as well as coming on as full-time. And we think the $50 is a pretty reasonable amount for a consultant, an outside consultant, to be helping us.
Considering there are no benefits for this?
Correct. There would be no benefits. She would still be the one coming to the impact fee meetings, and you'd still be able to see her at presentations. So she wouldn't be like a complete outside consultant, because she'd still be helping us internally, coming to meetings, coming to certain staff meetings that we would need her at. So we would still like to keep her on and continue with her services as a planner to help us move forward with this growth that we've had. So.
Okay. Are there any questions for Summer regarding this issue?
I have one. Is it normal for personnel decisions like this to come before the council?
Yes, because it's a contract.
Okay.
So it's not really at the end of this month, she'll be no longer an employee of the city.
Okay.
So she'll be terminating her employment to go to her other full-time job, and then we'd keep her on as a consultant. But we're entering into a contract, so any contracts we bring in front of council.
Okay.
Are there other questions? Okay, I'll open this item 7C for public testimony. Anyone like to speak either in favor of or in opposition to this item? There being no one, I'll close the public testimony. What's the pleasure of the council?
I make a motion to approve.
A second.
Motion is second. And it passes unanimously. Resolutions. Resolution 8A, authorizing participation with the state of Texas through the Office of the Attorney General in the global opioid settlement and approving the Texas subdivision and special district election and release form with TEVA. Daniel, would you brief us on this?
Yes, there's going to be 2 opioid settlements, 8A and 8B. This first one is with TEVA, and a few months ago, the council approved the initial batch of opioid settlement agreements that were negotiated by the Attorney General. Basically, the only thing that the city has to do is say yes or no that they want to participate. If they do, then they're added into the fund. How much money comes from that depends on how many cities and counties and hospital districts that are asked to join do. That's an important part of the way that these settlements are set up. So these 2 are for less than the Johnson & Johnson one originally. There's one of these tonight is $63 million, the other $75 million. If 100% of all of the governments that can sign on in the state of Texas do, then Greenville's portion of those is going to be somewhere north of $400,000, between $400,000 and $450,000. We don't know the exact amount because only one of those 2 amounts per capita has been released. That's on the second one, 8B. Our max for this one, if you extrapolate from the amount that's in 8B, is somewhere close to about $220,000 or $230,000. And so the only thing that has to happen either tonight or at the next meeting is the city either has to say yes or no. If you say no, then what that means is that the city's going to be cut out of that amount of settlement money, however much the amount is eventually. But if the city wants to, it can launch its own lawsuits against these pharmaceutical companies, but I definitely would not advise that.
Are there any questions for Daniel regarding this issue? Being no questions, I'll open the item 8A for public testimony. Is there anyone who would like to speak in favor of or opposition to this 8A resolution? There being no one, what is the pleasure of the council regarding 8A?
Move to approve.
Okay, motion second, please vote. And it passes unanimously. Item 8B, which is similar, which Daniel just introduced to us. Are there any questions from the council regarding this issue? There being no questions, I'll open it up for public testimony. Would anyone like to speak either in favor of or in opposition to this item 8B? There being no one, I will, what is the pleasure of the council? Okay, motion?
Second.
Motion second, please vote. Okay, and that item passes unanimously. I'd like to ask the city secretary to read the consent calendar, please.
In the interlocal cooperative agreements with other governmental entities, resolution authorizing participation in the cooperation agreement with Choice Partners and Fleet Card Management Services through WEX, consideration and action on an ordinance authorizing a budget transfer from 3 water utilities funds to a capital fund for the Bethel Lift Station project.
Okay. Does the council have any questions on either, or comments on any of the consent calendar items? No? No questions? Anybody? No? Okay, I'll open item 9A, B, C, and D on the consent calendar for public testimony. Is there anyone like to speak either in favor of or opposed to these items? There being no one, what is the pleasure of the council regarding the consent calendar?
Make a motion to approve.
Okay.
Second.
Motion is second, please vote. And the consent calendar passes unanimously. City staff, city council reports, EP.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. We'll be reviewing the January financials as we're now 33% through the current fiscal year. Beginning with a review of the general fund, our revenues are doing great. We're a little bit above 13 million or 47% of expected collections. Leading that is our property tax collections at about 6.3 million, followed by sales tax numbers at 3.6 million, making up 28% of that, and then property taxes made up 49% of that. Our expenditures are just below 10 million or 31% of budgeted expectations. Leading that category is public safety, a little north of 5.3 million for 55%, and then non-departmental at 1.8 or roughly 20%. Going in and reviewing the sales taxes, which are doing really well still. Through January, for year-to-date 2022, sales tax collections are up to about 690,000 or 23% compared to fiscal year-to-date in 2021. Through January, here's that chart that shows and charts our collections from 2011. As you can see, it's going up and up and up. And again, doing really well for this year and last year.
Could I ask you a question? I
Yeah.
should know this, but the sales taxes you're reporting now are the sales taxes from December. In December, that were reported in January that we're just now receiving, or is it January, February? Which sales tax month are you reporting on?
For this number here, this is year-to-date, so collected in January, but then whenever we...
Okay, that
the
includes
next-
January then, okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
when we go to the next one, that's the one where it's collected.
Okay.
Reported, I think this one will be reported in the...
But this
the
is
3-month
actually,
pattern.
actual January sales tax that you've accumulated in this report?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
Yep. And that puts our, just as a reminder, those figures on the bottom, our sales tax target to make budget is that 9.1 million. Our actual collections are at 3.3 million, and that leaves 5.7 left to collect to meet budget. And this is when we're talking about the current period collections. These are the ones that are collected by businesses in November, reported in December, and then actually received in January by the city. The current period collections were 916,874. And then going on the chart above, you can see kind of our comparison cities and where we're at, as well as compared to January of 21. So again, we're doing really well with those numbers. an increase of 26.52% compared to January of '21.
I have a quick question. GP, has the state started or resumed their payback arrangements for the sales tax overpayments we had received prior that they suspended during COVID? So this is our gross, but do we know what our net is, sales tax receipt?
This is the net, isn't it?
That is the net? Okay, great.
Yeah, they just keep the rest.
We set a record for sales tax. We're
Yeah,
over $1 million,
noticed.
but we also set a record for sales
Right.
tax this past month.
I knew they were climbing, but the statement here, the total collected before any payback arrangements are held by the state. I didn't know if this was net or gross. Okay, great. That's great, thank you.
Yep. And then this is that history of January sales tax. Again, year over year, as far as the net payment received by the city. This is a review of the water and sewer fund revenues through January. We're at 5.4 million, or 33% of budgeted expectations. That chart up there kind of breaks it out and compares it to where we were at last year. Our water income's at 2.4 million, wastewater is at 2.1 million, and then other fees, charges, and sales are at 847,000, and those together make up that 5.4 number. And again, we're trending to where we were at last year, if not above in some categories. Lastly is the hotel motel occupancy tax. It's increased 44% compared to January 2021, and again, we're kind of seeing that trend. If you look at the lines, we pretty much plot exactly for 2020, 2021 as far as the monthly trends, and then that green trend from 2019, 2020 is still because of that COVID year, and that's also kind of where we're seeing that catch up there in that 44% compared to January of last year. And then does anybody have any other questions or anything? All right, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Give the monthly status report.
Yeah, we'll go through the monthly status report. Here's Waste Connections. If you'll look at this is at the end of January. So we did a little bit better than we did in December as far as especially first complaints. It's probably the best it's been since the previous February. And if you'll look on you can't really see any of the other, the second, and then after you get to the third, fourth, and fifth. So those complaints, they're getting better. We still do have some of those first complaints, but we're headed in the right direction. Still working with them on a consistent basis, stay in contact with them day to day. So we are working on that.
Question.
Yes.
With the complaints, have we received a rise in complaints for February that you know of?
I'd have to ask Brenda. I don't know. She keeps track of it and of course, I see some of them, but I don't see all of them because sometimes people will call, sometimes they'll email, sometimes they'll go through our website, and she keeps track of all that. But I could find out for February if we had a rise in it or not. I don't get it till the end of the month, or
Okay.
She'll give it to me like March 1st, March 2nd. She compiles it all, but I can certainly ask her if there's been a rise in February.
Okay.
Not that I've been made aware of, but
There's a high concern from apartment complexes that their trash is not getting picked up at the apartment complexes, and it's pretty much piling up, and it looks nasty and disgusting. But
sure, certainly. And we were just dealing with one this morning, actually, but, it wasn't Waste Connections' fault. It was something that the apartment management had done. They overflowed it, and obviously if it's overflowing, which we have, and that's not the first, not just apartments, but we've had businesses in that same situation. If it's overflowing like that, Waste Connections cannot pick it up safely.
Okay.
And so what we do is we'll take usually it's our code guys that'll go out there and go talk to the property owners and say, hey, can you get somebody to level it off for us? Just push it to the side so it's not touching the dumpster or whatever it is. They'll be glad to go out. They'll go out there right away if I call them and empty it, and then you can level or put everything back in there that you had to level off. And so that's really kind of the issue. And sometimes we're working with property management that's not in town as well, and so we have to deal with that. So I think once we do know about it, then we go talk to them and we can get it resolved. But honestly, when they try to blame Waste Connection, it's really not their fault. So, we have to work with the property management, with the tenants to make sure they're not just continuing to, chunk it way up there and then hope it stays, because they really can't dump it if that's the case. You couldn't dump it safely anyway if that was the case anyhow. So, but we work with them, and we just solved one. Actually, we were notified about it last night, and it got solved, and the issue got resolved this morning.
Okay.
And property management worked with us. But we have had businesses that we had to go through that whole entire process with our code enforcement officers to get them to continually maybe get another dump, pay for an extra dump, because if they need it twice a week and they'd only want to pay for it once a week and then just call and complain. So we've had all kinds of those situations. So we do work with them, but as long as we know about it, then we can go forward with that. So it's not always Waste Connection's fault either, so.
And I just wanted to thank you and your team for all the actions you took to handle that apartment issue
well,
from
thank
yesterday.
you.
I have a follow-on question to what she was just talking about. Wasn't there supposed to be a process with the yellow stickers or whatever that's supposed to inform residents like why this trash wasn't picked up?
Yes,
And
the
are
tagging
they-
system?
Yeah, the tagging.
It's supposed to be in place. I'm not sure that if it's being used or not. I will follow up on that. So yes, there is supposed to be a tagging
Seems like that would be a
system
great way
in
to
place.
cut down on calls if the tag would just say, trash is overflowing.
Right. Well, this was an apartment complex where they had cleaned out an apartment and dumped a whole bunch, and then
Just
they
need a bigger tag, that's all.
Yeah, I don't know if they would even seen the tag on that one. It was pretty full. But yeah, we certainly, I'll follow up on the tagging system because, yeah, that was supposed to be a resolution, especially for the toters. Hey, why wasn't it picked up, or why was I missed because it was sticking out, or, not that the lid was open, that shouldn't be happening anymore. But like you said, if it's overflowing, and sometimes too, they'll see trash trucks come by. You got to understand, we've got a bulk truck that comes by and just picks up bulk and won't touch your toters. You've got the recycle that comes by and picks up that, and then the trash truck. So there's possibly, especially on your first trash day. So your first pickup day, there's going to be a bulk truck that comes by and is not going to touch your trash can. Because it happened to me. I was like, why did he just pass by my trash? But I realized, okay, it's the bulk guy. He's just picking up the bulk. So that does happen. We've had a couple of those calls, so we'll just field them. So we just got to work better on communication and education and make sure everybody understands. So.
Along that realm, we might want to consider using the message block that we have on the utility bill to remind folks that it has to be level and the lid's closed as an educational piece.
Yeah, we can certainly do that. Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
Okay,
so
thank you.
I'll talk to Alicia about that.
Okay, great, thanks.
So we're getting there. Not there yet. Utility cuts in January, they had 25, a little bit down. Hot mix wasn't available, as readily available. There was some available. And weather temperatures, they go from 70 to 30, and so that plays a little bit of factor in there. Potholes kind of in the same boat, a little bit down from December, but still working through those. Weather played a big part in January as well, as far as the up and down. Street sweeping, you'll see 0 in January. Our street sweeper was in the shop for that amount of time, but it has started sweeping and confirmed, press is still here, on the 14th. So on February 14th, it started back up again. So that's why you don't see anything there. The mowed areas, still mowed the same areas that we typically mow, all those same areas in the same 100%. We were able to mow all those. Nothing affected there. Intersections cleared were actually 18 as well, same as in November. Signs replaced, a little bit down, 10 from December, from 14 to 10 there. So we replaced those, and those are just your normal maintenance of, things that just fall or get rusted or get hit by cars or anything like that. So that's just kind of your normal signs that are being replaced or that are out of date. Sometimes that happens. We are working on replacing the population signs as well, since we have our new census official. So you'll start, if you see some of those new ones go up, our traffic department is working on that. And then to our raw water line, they're working on the design phase. Our engineer, and actually Daniel spoke this afternoon about continuing working on the easements. And then here coming up in the second quarter, our pipe supplier should be able to give us some pricing, which hopefully it'll be favorable. Press just informed me right before the meeting that pipe pricing is through the roof right now, so I don't know how favorable that will be, but we'll we'll get that, and then we'll try to move forward and keep marching forward on the raw water line and getting that replaced 100%. So, and I'll be happy to answer any other questions.
Are there any questions for Summer regarding that?
Thank you.
Hey, Kevin, would you like to give us a deal on the Festival of Arts?
Thank you. It's been since budget time last year when I even mentioned that we were going to try to do something like this. So I just want to give you an update on where we're at in our current planning. So we've got a group of city staff and private citizens that have been meeting regularly since November of last year, and really, really pleased with how the event is panning out at this point. We decided to call it the Hunt County Festival of the Arts versus Dennis Strickland, even though he will always be the inspiration for it. But if you look in the logo, we have a little nod to Dennis above the words Hunt County with his signature glasses and beret that he was known for wearing. It's going to be really, really exciting. We have some very talented people that are working on creating this entire event. There's multiple components. One of the things I like the best that we decided to do, taking a cue from Bras for the Cause, we are not going to shut down any streets for the event. We want people to be able to easily flow in and out of downtown, not have a hindrance to businesses. So we're going to utilize sidewalks and existing empty buildings or public spaces. So we've identified at least 8 different businesses that have been welcoming and opening up their business for us to create mini art galleries in those businesses. We've got 6 different locations where performances will happen throughout downtown. At this point, it's going to stretch all the way from Farmers Market up to where basically the landmark on Lee. It's a long stretch, but we feel like we've got a lot of different content, a lot of fun, exciting things. One thing I'm very excited about, we have a giant 8-foot by 8-foot paint by numbers mural that we're going to do, but citizens that come to the event are the ones that are going to paint it. And we're not going to tell you what it is, although I'm going to pick it up Saturday, the pieces, but it's 64 1-foot by 1-foot pieces that once you paint your section of it, it'll all go together and the mural, the picture itself will be revealed. The great thing about it, it's portable, so it can be displayed in multiple locations throughout the year. We can move it around easily, so it's not one permanent installation somewhere. So it's going to be fun. And one of the biggest things, well, 2, we're working with multiple school districts throughout the county. So we've got GISD, Lone Oak, Commerce, some homeschool groups, and we're trying to get more all to be involved in it. We're working closely with GISD because they have their student art program where they do the exhibit in the month of April, and it's all going to be gathered together. We're going to create a GISD gallery downtown just to showcase all of that art in one place during the event. We're going to have a Farm to Fork dinner, and when we posted something about that on Facebook, Facebook went wild. People were very excited about that. So a lot of different components. Yes, we budgeted money, but I also have sponsorship applications here. If any one of you would be interested in helping to sponsor the event, we have sponsorships from $200 to $5,000. And a lot of good benefits. But we really feel strongly that we're creating a new signature event that will live on for many, many years here in the community and hopefully bring a lot of people into Greenville for this one. Okay. Any questions?
I don't have a question. I just want to say that I'm excited for this. Being that I attended Bras for the Cause for the first time, don't judge me, I had a lot of fun. And I think that we should encourage everybody in the community to come out and just experience this. I know we always say there's nothing to do in Greenville, but here is something for us to do as a community, and we're celebrating like all cultures, all art, and I think this will be something great for the community to come out in May. So I'm excited about it.
And I will publicly thank you already for stepping up and volunteering to help us.
You're welcome.
Good job, Kevin.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Very good job. Any other questions?
Kevin, I'm glad to see you all are going to incorporate that Farm to Fork. When we did that several years ago, Byron did.
Yeah.
Here at the Civic Center, that was a huge success.
Well, culinary, we want to be a part of this ongoing, and we thought that would be a really fun way to do it. That should also be the first weekend of the farmers market, so we're hoping to work with some of the local farmers to provide food. I know Fado Amano's already agreed to help us with bread and stuff for that, so I think that Cheeseboro and Campbell Chocolates are going to do some social chocolatey something to go with it. Bob Landon's doing a private label wine for the event. So we're really excited about the participation we've gotten so far.
Are you still accepting participants?
Absolutely. People have until March 15th to sign up. Like I said, we've had over 60 visual artists express interest. We've had about 20 that have signed up and confirmed so far, but everybody waits till the last minute. So,
Thank you.
all right, thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, item 11, city council discussion of proposed agenda items. Are there any items the city council would like to discuss in the future?
Mayor, I've got one thing I mentioned to you, I think briefly. I'm still getting some calls. We had a room full of people here a while back with all the light situation over at Ellis Properties. And that most is my place or district. I'm still getting calls and inquiries about what's the status of that light situation. And I'm not really sure I'm updated on what to tell those folks. I've heard.
Okay. Well, I don't know how to comment on that.
Either do I.
So I don't know. I'll let Daniel answer that question. I don't know exactly where we are in that process, but.
Yeah, and I can tell you that because it's just an issue of fact. So I'm going to tell you the facts right now. We can't discuss it, though. Basically, there was some discussion after that meeting where the alternative streetlights were approved. And the council basically approved those. They went back to, Larry's people went over to GEUS and tried to work with them to get those connected, but there were some issues with them not wanting to tear up the dirt that had already sprouted grass in the areas that needed to be inspected, and then something else didn't work. And so I think about a week and a half or maybe 2 weeks ago, they informed the city that they're, or informed you that they're going to just use the regular Greenville streetlights that are approved. I think the secondary metal design, the new design. And so those are going to be installed sometime soon. I don't think we have a specific timeline on that yet. And they're not going to use the alternative ones. No.
There was a higher standard to install those, electrical standard, right, for installing those, and they used that standard for the two that are in the entrance there. But when he realized the additional expense for installing multiple ones throughout his development, I think that's what changed his mind. Yes. Yeah.
Sure.
I guess I can discuss that part.
Yeah.
Okay.
We were just telling what you know. We just can't go back and forth about what we think about that.
Okay. You have before you the board and commission's minutes, substandard structure board and Greenville Board of Development minutes from January. And at this point, we will go back into executive session for a little while, and we will probably vote when we come out. Thank you for attending the meeting tonight. We appreciate your attendance and braving the bad weather.
The recipe for great food is simple. Make it fresh. Wings to go in Greenville, where every order is a custom order made with fresh ingredients. Wings to go, 7818 Wesley Street in Greenville. Simply great wings.
Need a part for the right price? Look for that red and blue sign. Henley Auto Supply at 1510 Stonewall. Over 800,000 CarQuest parts to choose from. Domestic, European, and Asian parts.
Hard to follow,
Henley Auto Supply.
follow the program here with me.
1969. 455-19.
recipe for great food is simple. Make it fresh. Wings to go in Greenville, where every order is a custom order made with fresh ingredients. Wings to go, 7818 Wesley Street in Greenville. Simply great wings.
Need a part for the right price? Look for that red and blue sign. Henley Auto Supply at 1510 Stonewall. Over 800,000 CarQuest parts to choose from. Domestic, European, and Asian parts. Henley Auto Supply at 903-455-1969. 455-1969. Henley Auto Supply has the right part to keep your vehicle running. And backed by the best hometown service. Henley Auto Supply. Great people, great products, great prices. Henley Auto Supply and CarQuest.
I'll call this session of the Greenville City Council back into session at what time is it? 6:54. And we've discussed an item in executive session. Is there a motion regarding that item?
I motion for the retention of Messer Fort McDonald PLLC for water, wastewater right-of-way easement and acquisitions legal work.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Please vote. And it passes unanimously. This meeting is